All right, what is up? We are live. Got several stories to cover today, including NASCAR hired the teams at least have hired an antitrust lawyer, so that's interesting. That popped off on the 19th, and we really haven't heard anything about it until today. Of course, several penalties were handed down as well. So I'm going to start off with that, with the antitrust lawyer being hired, and then I'm going to get into the penalties, of which I have some opinions on those penalties. But this from the AP Wire, not exactly sure how to reference or source this because I've never read anything off the AP Wire, so I don't know who wrote it, but that's what it's from, the AP Wire. Teams hire antitrust lawyer. NASCAR teams have hired one of the country's top antitrust and sports lawyers to advise them in their ongoing dispute with the family owned stock car series over a new revenue sharing model. The decision to hire Jeffrey Kessler, partner and co executive chair of Winston and Strawn LLP, followed a Saturday meeting at Daytona International Speedway that included the majority owner from each of the 15 charter teams in NASCAR. Although the teams invited NASCAR representatives to attend, none did. Kessler's hiring was revealed to the Associated Press on Sunday, the eve of the rain-postponed Daytona 500 by the five members of the team ownership negotiating committee. It comes amid a breakdown in negotiations between teams and NASCAR that led the 36 charter teams to decline last month to extend their exclusive negotiating window with the sanctioning body on the existing deal. The current charter agreements expire at the end of this season, and 2 years of talks were stalled by NASCAR's ongoing negotiations with the new $7.7 billion with a B television rights deal announced in early December. Kessler has only been retained so far to help advise the teams in their negotiations. Kessler most recently successfully represented Division I college football and basketball players in a landmark antitrust case that led to financial stipends for athletes. So that right there is bad news. That's just not good news any way you spin it. Now, Steve Phelps has come out in several other articles and stuff like that and said he feels confident that they're going to get the deal done. And he says fans shouldn't have to worry about charters and things like that. They should be worried about the on-track product, and we should be worried about doing things with the on-track product to improve it. And that's where the focus and all that stuff should be, which he's saying all the right things. But this is terrible news, to be totally honest with you, because the teams have hired not only a lawyer, but an absolute ace lawyer. You know how long college students played in collegiate level sports and were not allowed to get paid for it? This is the guy that got that done. He got that overturned, that injustice, in my opinion. He got that injustice overturned. So this guy is no joke. He is absolutely one of the best of the best. So NASCAR, they better go ahead and hurry up and get that deal done, because if they leave it up to this dude, there's no telling what will be left of them when he gets done with them. So I would highly, highly encourage NASCAR to get the deal done with the teams, as opposed to let Mr. Kessler get a hold of them in court, because then it's going to get real. And I don't like NASCAR's odds in that particular situation, because with Michael Jordan being in the sport and him knowing from being a professional basketball team owner what that structuring looks like with the cable money and how they pay teams over there. And when 2311 first came into the sport, do you remember when they said that the current NASCAR model is fractured and broken, that there's no way that this is a good model going forward? I think that does not bode well for NASCAR. So I'm thinking if they let Mr. Kessler get a hold of NASCAR, that is going to be a seriously bad idea. So if NASCAR and Steve Phelps know what they're doing, which is sometimes questionable, they probably need to get a deal done here and just knock it out and be done with it, because I don't feel like they're on firm ground. Okay, so that was one story that I saw that I thought was super interesting. And of course, the other one is going to be the penalties. Let me get that in front of me so I don't misread them. This from Bob Pockris, by the way, is where I saw it. Priest and Gregson are docked 35 points for roof air deflectors not in compliance with the team-made part. And Joey Logano was fined $10,000 for his Spider-Man looking glove that he was holding up against the window. He at Daytona, he had it at Daytona too. Some people have sent me some pictures and some images of that. He actually had it at Daytona as well. So they're finding him $10K as well as the pass-through penalty that he had for that there. And the most important of all the penalties here, J.J. Yaley, NASCAR Xfinity Series crew Miller suspended 2 races for the Kyle Weatherman altercation. And let me start with that one because that is the most serious and egregious offense. You don't lay your hands on a fellow Kyle. And he got off lucky here. He's lucky he wasn't suspended for the whole season and forced to make penance in front of the Council of Kyle, the cock, if you will. So he is lucky. He got off lucky. He got off lucky because the Kyles will unite. We will get you, Jason Miller. Now, of course, as long as it's not Jason Mayhem Miller, that's a different story. We're not messing with him. But this is Jason Miller from NASCAR, and we're not happy with you. So you will apologize to the Kyles, and you will not lay hands upon another Kyle. I'm joking, of course. But the other penalties are super interesting. Noah Gragson and Ryan Preece being fined 35 points. That is serious. That is significant. It's going to be interesting to see if Stewart-Haas Racing appeals that, like we saw Hendrick appeal it last year, and you saw Hendrick appeal it, and it got overturned in the Court of Appeals deal, and then NASCAR was still obviously salty about it, and they came later in the season and got Hendrick with essentially another penalty, and Hendrick was like, you know what? All right, whatever. If you're just going to keep fining us and penalizing us, we'll just take the penalty and we'll move on with the season. At that point, I think everybody had been locked into the playoffs that was racing a full season for Hendrick. Obviously, they had the injuries with Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. So I think Hendrick finally took their medicine after appealing it. So it's going to be interesting to see if Stewart-Haas Racing appeals this. And I do want to see what was actually illegal about the roof rails. I think that's interesting too. And the Spider-Man glove for Joey Logano, I didn't cover that in the other particular deal. So I think it's going to be. I guess they're just discouraging anybody else from doing that because $10,000 is light. The pass-through penalty was the bigger deal as far as I'm concerned on that. So yeah, and so the Kyle Weatherman thing is what inspired the poll question too, by the way. So let me get to the poll question. Best NASCAR fight, and I just listed off a few. Most of these came from the Discord server. So if you want to join the Discord server, somebody will drop the link here for us. Probably Wise Guy, he's good at that. 1979, Cale versus the Alabama gang. Cale Yarborough, of course, rest in peace. Or Stone Cold Custer, John Hunter Nemechek, the Spear from Hell. And then, which is more of a lariat because he grabbed him by the helmet and slung him on the ground. But I like calling it a spear because it's just cool. Baby Gibbs with the helmet and the hands 2-1 Sam Mayer. I didn't have enough room to put all that in there. Or Daniel Suarez slamming Michael McDowell. Right now, 82% Alabama gang versus Cale Yarborough. I knew that would be the case. That's like one of the most famous moments in NASCAR. But Stone Cold Custer getting some love here at 18%. So I'm totally going to sway the poll here. And if you don't mind, I would appreciate it if you voted for Stone Cold Custer. Let's pull the upset. It's close to March. Let's get some March Madness. All right, that's what I was thinking about today. That's those are the main stories. Now let's jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. One Wise Guy on it. I already dropped the Discord right there. And if you want to get this sweatshirt right here or one of the other ones, we have them in the merch store. The merch store link is right there above the Discord. Appreciate you there, One Wise Guy. Let's see here. SHR needs to quit cheating. They are not good at it, or hire some people that are good at it, says Shy. Yeah, that is a fair statement. 100% agree with you right there, Shy. Always good to have Shy on here. But yeah, God, it seems like, so are they like the Chad Canals? Like Chad Canals got the Cheatin' Chad title. Is Stewart-Haas Racing sort of taking over the Cheatin' Chad title? Are they the ones that get caught the most often now? That's a good question to ask. Atlanta will be a super speedway forever because the 3 mile or because of the 3 wide finish. Let's not make Texas a 1.5 mile super speedway. One is enough. Yeah, that's a good point, Napa Racing fan. It works at Atlanta. We don't need to see it at every single racetrack. I do agree with you 110% there. That's kind of the beautiful thing about NASCAR. We have all these different tracks. We have all this variety. There were some people that didn't like the Atlanta race, but guess what? Next week, there's a different racetrack, so that might be your style of racing. Some people love the road courses. Some people hate the road courses, but that is the great thing about the NASCAR schedule. There is a different track for everybody. At some point, there is a track that every single NASCAR fan loves, and that's the good thing about the current schedule. And if they go and make all these tracks the same, the cookie cutter era, everybody remembers the cookie cutter track era. If they go and do the same thing, make the same mistake, don't learn from the past, don't learn from their mistakes, then yeah, we're going to have too many Atlantas, and those races aren't going to be special anymore. So I agree with you 100%. Good point there, Napa. Preece and Gregson might take till summer to catch up. Oh yeah, like that's devastating because Noah Gregson, he had a bad race right there, and Ryan Preece has been caught up in 2 wrecks so far, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely, they started behind the 8 ball just a little bit. Noah did have a good finish at Daytona, so he does have that to lean on. But he was the first or second guy. He was the second guy out, I want to say, at Atlanta. So that's doubly damning because that puts him at negative points for the Atlanta race, and then you have to dip into the Daytona race for some of those points. What's up in between the lanes? Good to see you as always. SHR doing exactly what they have done for the last 2 years, providing a rebrand. Don't mean nothing, says Shop. Yeah, I mean, but they actually had some speed. So whatever they were doing, at least they were cheating in the right way. We've seen them in the past get caught cheating, and it wasn't really helping them on the speed charts. So that's at least they're going in a positive direction. They figured out like how to get some speed out of it. To that being said, I think they'll tighten up for the rest of the season, and they'll just they'll get into it. So they'll hopefully they can get those points back, like basically Hendrick did last year. Tony Stewart will have more wins in NHRA Top Fuel this year than SHRA in Cup. Anyway, guaranteed, says Napa Race fans. There you go. That's you know what? This poll question is not good, so I'm just gonna end it, put it out of its misery. We're calling it. We're gonna start another poll. Who has more wins? Tony Stewart. There you go. 2 options. A rarity. Normally I give you 4 options. I'm a 4-option kind of guy. But let's see. Jump back up here and see where I left off. Oh, I just saw that. Let me catch up to where I was at. Go Caitlin Clark, says Mark Barnum. New women's, or is it overall? I can't remember. It's NCAA or women's scoring champion. Caitlin Clark in there. Marcus, hello, says Bumblebee. Hey, EB, says Mark. Best fight, John West and Spencer Gallagher. I forgot all about that one. I saw that one as I was scrolling through, and that's the one I was talking about. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. That's the one I was talking about. I forgot about. Yeah, I should have put that one in there. Good point. Like this, teams need more of that cut that NASCAR gets, says Duke Chronic. That's an interesting point. I agree with you 100%. And that's the point I was making about Jordan coming from the NBA and having that. And I would say Joe Gibbs probably too has some knowledge of it too. I'm surprised Joe Gibbs hasn't said something. I guess everything's going so good over there at Gibbs that maybe he doesn't need it. But I'm surprised he didn't speak up and say something about it as well. But now that Jordan's come in with the knowledge of how much the NBA teams get paid, I would say 23XI is more behind this push for the teams to get paid equally than anybody, because I think when he came in, he was like, guys, you guys are getting screwed. That's what I'm thinking. So there you go. But I will say this: if NASCAR goes to a strike, it is going to be the worst thing that could ever happen to the sport. It'll be very much like baseball in the 90s when they went on strike. Baseball in the 90s was the #1 sport, if I'm not mistaken, and they went on strike, and they have never regained being the #1 sport as far as many people watching, because there were some lifelong baseball fans that just absolutely never returned. So that was definitely a bad move for them, and I think it would be very similar if NASCAR decided to go on strike. So hopefully that is avoided at all costs. The best fight in the 2000s was Marcus Ambrose, Mike Tyson, and Casey Mears at Richmond. I forgot all about that one too, man. We need to tighten up in the Discord. We missed some bangers there. So maybe later we'll put up another poll. Right now, the current poll 71% to 29%. Tony Stewart and NHRA over SHR and NASCAR. So that is a surprising result. I was not expecting it to be quite that big. I was expecting maybe a 50-50, but 71% going Tony Stewart going to outrun all of SHR in his drag racing equipment. Of course, filling in for his wife, Leah Pruitt. We're going down to 67% here now, so it's there. We're starting to sway them. Let's see. Best fight in the 2000s for that one. The reason they are so far behind the charter deal is because the TV deal is taking forever to get done. Sooner they get that deal done, the better. I agree with you, Napa. And look, here's the deal, man. Like the lawyer that the team's got, I don't think NASCAR wants any part of that dude. So they need to get the deal done. Let's see. You got somebody. I saw somebody down here in the chat. Aaron Flynn, re-upping. I appreciate you staying a member. Aaron, I appreciate that a whole lot, my friend. Let's see here. The time crap or get off the time to crap or get off the pot for NASCAR. I wouldn't take my chances with that guy. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like he got like for the longest time the NCAA held that thing, and this is the guy that came in and got it done. I wouldn't want to tangle with him. Like he's good. Like don't get me wrong, NASCAR might win, but this guy's good, so I don't like your odds. You want to mitigate those chances. And now that you got this guy at the arbitration table, you probably just cost yourself even more money in the long run. But we'll have to see how it goes. What's up, Ralph? Good to see you on here. Government watches NASCAR $42 million fine for Dollar Tree. I hope this doesn't impact Legacy Motor Club sponsor deal. Oh, yeah, man, that's going to stink. So, like, Dollar Tree and Family Dollar are owned by the same company. Good comment there, Cody. I did see something about that earlier and totally had forgotten all about it. So, Dollar Tree got hit with a big fine. I forget what they were doing. But hopefully this doesn't at all impact the Legacy Motor Club deal. Hopefully that money comes out of something else. NASCAR will lose because I think it was a multi-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it is. NASCAR will lose if they don't give teams a bigger cut. I'm with you. Mayhem Miller says Duke Ryan. Hey, there you go. Somebody remembers Mayhem Miller. He was the guy. If you don't remember him from fighting, you might remember him from MTV's Bully Beatdown. He was the host of Bully Beatdown. That was old Mayhem Miller there. Said at Sonoma for Hendrick Xfinity, says Napa Racer fan. Oh, yeah, Boris said's going to race in Xfinity. So there you go. I forgot to add that in there, too. So good looking out, Napa. Did you go to that world record Kyle meetup years ago? No, but I was in I still had Facebook at the time. I've basically gotten rid of Facebook. I still have it on my phone so I can use the messenger, but I've when I need to get a hold of people whose phone number I don't have. We were part of the organizing group that got that done. I was part of that Facebook group. So I didn't go. I didn't have the funds at the time, and I was working in the factory, so I couldn't have got that much time off anyway. But yeah, definitely cool that they organized that deal, and it's super cool that they got that many to go out there. I can't remember if they held it at Kyle Field where Texas A&M plays or not, but that was one of the ones thrown out there at the time. It's been a long time ago. I think they do it every year now, though. If SHR teams get the negative 35 points, they probably need to win to get in now, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, it's going to be hard to overcome, especially since Noah Gragson just had basically a last place race already. Like if you went the whole season without finishing last place, points wise, you could make it back up. And there's a lot of season left. Don't get me wrong, but that's definitely going to be a hit. It's especially for Priest, who I think has been caught up in 2 wrecks now, if I'm not mistaken. I need to go look at his numbers because I can't think of where he's finished off the top of my head. I voted for the Custer Spear. LOL says Shy. Yeah, Cole Custer with the spear, man, and he went for the spear and ended up in a lariat. Like it was pretty cool, man. Like old Custer, he was not having and all respect to John Hunter Nemechek. I'm not throwing shade at John Hunter Nemechek, but that was one of the funniest moments of all time when Custer grabbed that helmet and he threw that head in the ground. I was like, you go get him, Stone Cold. Cole Custer. Let's see. We still have the Daniel Dyke, and I'm not a big proponent of fighting, but that was funny. Nobody got hurt. Daniel Dyke camera. Is it overdone, BB? The little helmet cam. They're not as it's not as bad as it used to be, but they got really hyped up one time when they had the little tiny camera on somebody. So it was interesting. Joey, large glove, but I feel like this season they haven't quite overused it. But I don't want to speak too soon because as soon as I say something, they might do it. Joey, large glove, no. Sliced bread is lucky. He's not toast from his big hands. I know you're the one. Doing the I got you. What is that called? Something in the sun. Violent Femmes. Violent Femmes is the group. I can't remember the name of the song. I got you there, Jamie Schweitzer. I asked Iceberg when they were going to have you on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast again, and he said you're already on the list. Hey, there you go. There you go. Those guys are super cool, man, by the way. So definitely check them out tomorrow. They're a good group of dudes, super cool behind the scenes. They're not, sometimes I don't want to get into, I don't know. Sometimes you see people and you're like, oh, that's a super nice person, but they're not a nice person behind the scenes. All those guys are super nice guys behind the scenes. So I got to give a shout out to all of them. Points penalty doesn't really mean anything if you get a win. Says like this, like that's a fact. That's a fact. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think everybody's mentality is get a win, and then if you sort of wind up in a point situation, worry about points. Then if I was like a team owner or whatever, that would be my strategy. If they tried to do some kind of protest at Daytona next season, I don't think that would go down well, in my opinion. You could be wrong. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, one wise guy. The teams have the momentum on their side right now. They don't need to pull any stunts because I feel like the fans have the teams back right now. Them Fords were all using fuel at the same rate. That is insane that they all ran out on the same lap. Says Mark Barnett. Yeah, I agree with you. Like it was so crazy. It was like Haley Deegan, Ryan Sieg, Cole Custer, and whoever else. I can't remember who the other one was, but they all ran out of gas at the same time. So the cool thing about that, if you're a Ford person, all the engines are the same. Nobody's getting any extra horsepower. Nobody's getting a better carburetor. So that's the cool thing. The bad thing is y'all ran out of gas at the same time. You're not getting as good a gas mileage as apparently the Toyotas and Chevrolets, which has always been the case. I remember back in the day, Dodge and Ford would always run out of gas first, and then Chevrolet and Toyota would be the next one in line there. But except for that 1 year when Penske kept getting better gas mileage than everybody, there's no doubt about it. They had figured out a way to cheat and get more fuel into that car. Like Penske had figured something out, so no doubt about that. But yeah, Penske overcame the Dodge and Ford using too much gasoline when they were winning all those extended distance races. Penske makes me nervous for Vegas, says one wise guy. Look, man, Penske has had a lot of speed, and they have not had a lot of finishes to show for it. Ford in general, but Penske in particular has had a lot of speed and does not have the finishes to show for it. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, starring the Vegas show known as Friday Night Trucks, says in between the lanes, hey, that's cool, man. Kyle Busch, he's going to get all those 5 starts out of the way early, it looks like. So yeah, he's another one that's been off to a fast start. He's leading the regular season points right now, if I'm not mistaken. Pole is tough. I think they'll be tied 0-0, says one wise guy. Big old goose egg. So there you go, wise guy. Well, I should have made that the middle option. They'll be tied. I shouldn't have put 0-0. They'll tie. Wise guy, Tony already won one NHRA race last year. I misunderstood the poll this year, says Shah. I know B. I just don't think he'll get one this season. And isn't he driving in a different level too? He's driving like he's driving his wife's. I was about to say girlfriend, but it's his wife now. He's driving his wife's car, so it's a different. He's in a whole different division. I think Tony in the top fuel car this year for his wife, says Mark Barnum. I think SHR will get a win, but it will be taken away in inspection. Oh, that would be the worst. Have kind of lost faith in SHR, says Shah. What up, BB? I think a lot of people have. I'm big on them this year because I just feel like at some point it's got to go the other way, but that's not necessarily always the case. Roush for a lot of years sort of floundered, and before Brad Keselowski came in, and that seems to have revived him there. But I was always the same way with Roush. I was like, this is the year Roush is going to be back. And as an RCR person, there were years with RCR where you're like, this is the year we're going to be back. The boys are going to be back. So yeah, that's definitely, and don't even get me started about Richard Petty Motorsports and all that. Like every year I was like, they can't be as bad as they were last year. Doing the same thing and expecting different results. SHR motto apparently, says Shah going in on SHR. Oh man, let's see. SHR will have more wins in Xfinity than Cup, says Mark Barnett. Hey, there you go. If you include Xfinity, that might be a different story altogether. Leah Pruitt retired for good, I believe, to start a family, and Tony has taken over the seats as an Napa Racing fan. Yeah, I don't know if it's just this season or what, but she definitely is out for a little while to focus on a family. Raymond Bailey, I think they need to try to get the cost as low as possible on all series. I agree with you 100% on that, Raymond. But they also need to pay the teams more too, because it's a little staggering when you compare it to other sports. And I know motorsports is different than regular sports, but it's still a little staggering that NFL and NBA get significantly more TV money than the Cup Series teams do. Mayhem was in the Elite XC with Kimbo Slice, as one wise guy. Yeah, who remembers Kimbo Slice? That dude, he was like the street fighting champion, and he did okay. He did okay in professional MMA, but by the time he got to professional MMA, he was pretty worn out. He wasn't peak Kimbo Slice, but everybody was scared of that right hand, that's for sure. Boris Sid in Sonoma in June. Woohoo! Break out the wigs. Sid heads rejoice. Yeah, I forgot who was talking about it earlier in here, but yeah, for sure, Boris Sid is back in the house. So Sid heads break out the wigs. I thought Boris was retired again, says one wise guy. I feel like he said he's retired for good, and then he just keeps – he's like a wrestler, man. He keeps coming back. They missed the pop of walking out there or whatever the wrestlers say or however that works. All right, let's see. Let's go Boris, man. I hope he can pull off a top 10, says Ralph. That would be awesome if he could do that. That would definitely be cool. I rewatched the Saturday's truck race this morning. I only saw the final lap Saturday, says In Between the Lanes. Yeah, the race, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the greatest race of all time. I feel like as good as the Cup Series race was, with the cars being able to pass by themselves and not necessarily needing help, it was not good in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. You needed a lot of help in those series to pass. Truck's not as bad because they punch a bigger hole, but Xfinity Series was that was rough to watch. But yeah, Truck's put on a little bit of a better show. Kyle Busch had him covered. You could tell he had a good enough truck and he was going to get it done, or at least I thought that the whole time. Blister in the Sun, says Duke Crime. There you go. Violent Femmes, Blister in the Sun. That was the song I was referencing earlier. Let's see. You think Suarez, or referencing somebody's comment, that's the song they were referencing. You think Suarez next win comes at a short track, super speedway, and road course checked off now? Oh, yeah. So I think I've said this probably 100 million times now on this live, but when he jumped in that late model and held his own against Cars Tour, who are the best of the best in late model, in my opinion, when Daniel Suarez was able to jump in that car and hold his own with those guys, I was so impressed. I was like, this guy is legit the real deal. I always thought he was good, but I never knew how much just ability the guy had in a race car. But when he did that, I was like, this cat can freaking drive. Like he is an absolute race car driver. So I've got no doubts that Daniel Suarez will get it done on some other tracks. I'm not gonna equate him to William Byron, but I will equate him in this one factor. It took William Byron 1 or 2 wins before the floodgates opened up for William Byron. I'm wondering if it's going to be a similar same thing with Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, it took 1 or 2 wins before he really just started going out there and being the Christopher Bell that we've seen recently. I'm wondering if it might be the same thing for Daniel Suarez now that he's got a couple of wins. Nobody can say, hey, that was a fluke win, or that was whatever fuel mileage win, or whatever detractor wants to say something about Daniel Suarez. Now that they can't say that, I wonder if his confidence raises up some more now, especially winning a super close race like that. I'm betting Suarez gets more wins this year, and Ross fights to point himself in, says Shop. It could be. But the interesting thing I take away from that for Trackhouse is they now have this much time to focus on the playoffs, and they won the last race of the season last year. So you might have to sort of skew them as early favorites to win the championship now that they've got this much time to prepare for it. One wise guy saying, howdy D. Glove Logano is more like Glogano. So there you go, Glogano. Joey Glogano. I go Jolo. So is it Joe Glow? Is it Joe Glow instead of Jolo now? I'm betting. Let's see. Do you think the caution should have been thrown when the 34 and the 24 wrecked on pit road? NASCAR is never consistent with cautions. If you're being consistent with cautions, if they're throwing it for a 1-car spin that doesn't affect anybody else, they need to throw it. They need to throw it for that as well. I understand why they didn't throw it. They didn't want to screw everybody by catching them a lap down or whatever like that. But hey, that's part of racing. You can't do that. So I would prefer they be more consistent. If a single car spin is a caution, then 2 guys wrecking on the way to pit road that's 2 cars spinning. That should be a caution too. I disagree with them not throwing a yellow there, but I do understand why they didn't do it. But if they need to be consistent, but they're never consistent with their cautions. Riley Herbst's birthday was Saturday, says In Between the Lanes. It was his. That's the other guy that ran out of gas, Riley Herbst. So yeah, it was his birthday Saturday. Unfortunately, great car. Just unfortunately didn't get it done. The 4 teams may have not considered saving fuel laps earlier on in the race. Maybe messed up their numbers, says Duke Chronic. That, or they just might have been on another strategy and they were just like, hey, we're going to get another caution. Just don't save fuel. You never know. You never know what's going on with those situations. But it didn't surprise me because historically Ford and Dodge got worse gas mileage than Chevrolet did at the very least. Tale of 2 Saturdays. Saturday, Trucks and Xfinity were horrible. Then on Sunday, it was a great race. Unfortunately, I think that means they won't fix anything for the other 2 series since Cup was good. Yeah, my only hopes for the other 2 series is that the track wears out enough that you get tire wear and tire fall off. So it becomes more of like a Darlington where the tires fall off and you can get those slingshots and stuff like that going. And you don't need anybody's help because it's gonna shred the tires enough. Instead of a Spidey glove, I would just put a water bottle up to block the wind, says Shop. I'm sure they're thinking about all kinds of stuff. Like if they were that forward thinking, Bubba is the Cup Series point. BG is fifth in Xfinity. So there you go, Bubba Wallace. If you like the old school Winston Cup Series points, Bubba Wallace would be your points leader. And I think it would be super close because Kyle Busch, I think in that one, is like fourth or fifth in points, whereas in this series he's leading the points. But it's only like it's a 4 or 7 point gap. I want to say in the Winston Cup points. I might be wrong though. I might be wrong, but I'm trying to remember. I did see that somebody on Twitter always posts the Winston Cup style points. Haley running out of fuel, messed up a good finish. Yeah, she was running 18th when she ran out of gas. So she was in line to get a good finish there. Did you catch Denny talking about other teams snitching on each other and going to the restroom in the car on Sunday and oddly liking it? His words, not mine. Denny Hamlin knows how to get a headline. So in my opinion, he used the word snitching to grab some headlines there. And he said, well, just in case me calling everybody in the garage snitches doesn't work, I'm going to go ahead and say I peed on myself and enjoyed it. So he's all about getting headlines. Let's see. Like KFB said he filled a hole and came up a couple inches short. Samantha climbed in and said, that's what I've been saying for years. 20 years, I think, is what she actually said. So she has deleted that. So I found that interesting because I went back to look it up just to see if she deleted it or not. She has deleted that. So I will leave it at that, and I'm not going to touch that one. I'm just going to leave that one be. Weird, huh, Robin? Says one wise guy. BB, which driver is not making? I might have missed somebody's comment. Y'all. Oh, Denny had to urinate in the suit for the first time. He's weird. He said he liked it. So hey, there you go. Like I'm not saying he's making stuff up. I'm saying it might not be the first time, and the guy knows how to get headlines. That's all. I'm just going to throw that out there. He said, like, if me calling the garage a bunch of snitches doesn't give me a headline, I know me saying I peed on myself and like peeing on myself is going to get me a headline. Denny Hamlin is a lot of things, but Denny Hamlin is not stupid. So I think 100% that's where those two comments came from on his show. He's what is it? Stupid like a fox or sly like a fox? Whatever that saying is. I'm not exactly sure, but something to do with a fox. Let's see. Sly like a fox, I think is what is the saying. BB, which driver is not making the postseason will be the biggest surprise? Maybe Denny Hamlin. He's off to a bad start. He's off to a pretty bad start for him. So he might be on the radar. That's as good a guess as any right now. Like I said, I'm going to save that poll question for a little bit later on in the season. But I do like that poll question. That's going to be a poll question coming up. I can't be as bad as they were last year. I'll hold my beer. Speaking of poll questions, we do have a poll question up. Who has more wins this season? 67% thinking Tony Stewart in NHRA versus SHR in NASCAR. And I'm referring to the Cup Series. I wasn't including the Xfinity Series in there. But if you want to include the Xfinity Series, feel free. The dork pooped himself this weekend, says William Wagaman, referring to Denny. Did they say anything about a penalty for the roof coming off? So the 41 truck, they said there's no penalty for the roof coming off, but they penalized the 38 truck for not properly fastening. So Lane Riggs, whose roof didn't come off, was penalized. And the 41 truck, whose roof came off, was not penalized. And NASCAR said they didn't have enough evidence. But I have a screenshot on my phone of the window indenting on the 41 truck. So if they're going to penalize Lane Riggs for that, I mean, what? I don't know. Maybe when the roof came off, it ripped off so much stuff they couldn't prove that it was loosely attached there. But if you see it depressing into the window like that, it obviously was. I think they need to go back and look at that because it goes back to the caution thing, right? Just be consistent. If you're going to penalize one truck for doing it, penalize both trucks for doing it. That's just my 2 cents on it. Can you imagine Tony Stewart as a stay-at-home dad? Poor kids, I would pity them. I don't know, man. He might be like in my opinion, he's totally different when he's not at the racetrack. than when he is at the racetrack. He seems like he's just way more chill when he's away from the racetrack. I don't know. He might be the favorite parent. Like I could see in that situation where Tony Stewart lets him get away with bloody murder, and he makes Leah Pruitt the disciplinarian, the bad guy, the bad cop. Denny Hamlin is into water sports now. Robin says Mark Barnum. That was slick, Mark. I like that one. Florida backyard brawler. I've seen him knock dreads off people's heads, big locks. Yeah. So I agree with you, one wise guy. Back when he got to the UFC when he was like 36 or 37, something like that. So he got there, or maybe not that old, but like he got there past his prime. We'll just say he got there past his prime. So you never could see what like a street fighter would do in the UFC because that was always the big deal. Boris said was going to retire but couldn't qualify at the Roval, so he didn't get to race. Okay, so that's what it was. He something happened and he didn't qualify there. So this might be the last one. We don't know. Hopefully it's not the last one though. I'm sure Tony would be a good dad, but I imagine a helicopter dad. Maybe I could see that. Kyle Busch will win Vegas in the truck race. Oh yeah, I always take that money all day. I'll give you the field and I'll take Kyle Busch in the truck race. I'll do that all the time. I feel like Suarez played a part in Cousin Carl taking an early exit. Says one wise guy. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you because I don't know, but I always thought the other way. I thought that they rushed up Daniel Suarez because Carl Edwards, something happened and he rapidly retired. Like, I feel like that was a Carl Edwards call. I don't know if it was he was upset with the points or maybe he had some health situation behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I always felt like Daniel Suarez, they just needed somebody, and they were like, this guy's got sponsors. We'll stick him in here because Carl Edwards is gone now. That's the way I saw it. But I could see it from the other perspective. Maybe Daniel Suarez had better sponsors than Carl Edwards and forced him out. I don't know, one way or the other. I'd never actually thought about it that way. So that's a good perspective I'd never thought about. I'd always assumed it the other way around, where Carl Edwards had to suddenly retire because it just felt so sudden to me. And then Daniel Suarez was like, all right, you're next man up. And I think Daniel Suarez, part of his problem early on was he was rushed up to the Cup Series, much like Joey Logano. I'm not going to sit here and say Daniel Suarez is going to be a Joey Logano type talent. I'm just saying it's similar that I think they were sort of rushed up to the Cup Series before they were ready. Ross, that's the way I always viewed it, at least. Ross has had 2 good races in a row, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, Ross is up there. The Trackhouse has been flying. Like, Suarez just won the race, so it's hard to say they're flying under the radar, but two good runs, and both of the cars have been up there running good. So I feel like Trackhouse is on it, at least as far as super speedway type tracks going on right now. Boris they've won, and somebody sent me a thing in the comments. Trackhouse has won 2 or either 3 of the 4 last races or 2 of the 3 last races. If you go all the way around. So 2 of the 3 last races, I know for sure. Soul Glow, if you know, LOL, says one wise guy. Suarez has a new crew chief. Might be a reason. Hey, there you go. He might be meshing with that new crew chief better. That's a good point, Rob Marks. Chris Rice has denied it, but I would keep my eye on Trackhouse and Colleague. Cup program is struggling to get sponsors and performance right now. And here's how I see that deal working out. I feel like it's going to be the same deal that they got going on with Spire, where they just rent out the 16 for either Daniel Suarez or SVG whenever SVG is ready to move up. For that crash, coming into the pit road, was off the track and all the cars were still running, and no debris was a good call, says Duke Chronic. So he's going the other way with that call, which is more than reasonable. My only counter to that is if you're gonna, everybody was out of the way with the single car spins too. I just want consistency. If a single car spin is going to be a caution and nobody's sort of in the way, then 2 cars spinning by themselves and out of the way of danger also should be a caution. But that's just the way I see it. But I see where you're coming from. I see your point as well. Matt Swiderski went to Trackhouse, and Travis Mack went to Colleague. Swiderski won Indy Road Course, the Charlotte Roval with AJ Allmendinger, says Napa. So there you go. He definitely seems to be meshing better with Daniel. I don't know Amigo 99. I don't know about banking on one win. Why was that so hard to read? Illiterate. And the last race got to go hard all year long, or team and driver get complacent, and by the time the playoffs roll around, you're off your game. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But they can also R&D. Like, I'm talking about like I agree with you. At the racetrack, they should still go for wins. I'm talking about you can R&D certain tracks for a longer period of time because you know that 99 car is in the playoffs. So if you just wanted to do like simulator type R&D where they run simulation numbers, you can run all kinds of different simulation numbers and stuff like that for the 10 playoff races. That's all I was getting at there. Yeah, I agree with you. They also need to keep their eye on the ball and try to win as many races and learn as much as you can as possible with the rest of the regular season races as well. As the great Kyle Busch says, race hard every race to win. Says Shaw. I ad-libbed a little bit, says Shaw. So he had a little bit of extra there on the end that YouTube doesn't like, but I would say it in real life. Let's see. Do you think it's a talent issue in the Truck Series, or they're just that much of a handful? Kyle jumps in and whoops everybody. It's a little bit of everything. One thing is Kyle Busch is a once in a lifetime type of talent or a generational talent, whatever you want to call him. He's just one of those rare guys. And the other thing is he's probably got a little bit of a better truck, and he's better at giving feedback. And he's been doing the Truck Series for a long time. The trucks haven't really changed. They have different noses, but they never really get any more aerodynamic, do they? So, I mean, there can't be that much aero in the truck, although I'm sure there is. Somebody's going to be like, you're an idiot. There's plenty of aero. I get it. But there's not as much aero in the Truck Series as there would be in Cup and stuff like that, I guess was the point I was trying to make. But let's see here. I don't feel like Atlanta Cup race was one of the best ever. The finish, yes, obviously, lap 2 wreck was just done. The lap 2 wreck was crazy, especially that early. Wish they kept it cleaner, but it was a good race. Yeah, so if you had one critique about that race, you could say there were a ton of cautions that took away from the action. I think that is a fair critique. So there's never going to be a perfect race, but that would definitely have to be the main critique in that one. I agree. AJ at Daytona was running faster than the field. Do you think 2 cars should have hooked up and tried to run away, get like a 4-second lead over the whole field? I would have liked to see something like that, like this. Like if for no other reason than this, I would like to see a group of 4 or 5 cars that are just like, screw fuel mileage. If you want to save fuel, but we're going to try to put you a lap down, and we're going to take off, and we're going to go, and we're never going to lift. That is how you stop this. Everybody's like, we're tired of saving fuel. Well, that's how you stop them from saving fuel. You go out there and you run as fast as you can, and you put them at a decision. Do they want to keep saving fuel, or do they want to risk themselves going a lap down? Because eventually you can build up a big enough gap where, I mean, you'll put them at a decision. Denny Hamroy talking about peeing in the seat was hilarious, says Shah. What's up, BB? What's up, T-Van? Hi, y'all from North Idaho. What's up, Cassandra? And what's up, North Idaho? BB, did you save at the pump just like Blaney and Logano? I do not save at the pump like Blaney and Logano. I have the BP option. That's what I go with. And typically, actually, the car I'm running actually tends to get better. It's weird that I noticed this, but now that they got little fuel gauges in cars, my car actually runs more efficiently on Sunoco fuel. Who knew that there was that much difference in them? Like the podcast, Hate the Driving, says I shall talk about Denny Hamlin. I didn't think a series would beat ARCA for earliest caution, but Cup has it now this year, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, it was an inauspicious start. We'll put it that way. Seems like the Wood brothers found and are holding on to some speed. Yeah, so shout out to Harrison Burton, man. Like, a lot of people like to dissuade from his abilities and stuff like that, but he finally sort of got it going, and he finally finished a plate race. And I've been saying they've got plenty of speed in plate races. They just get caught up in a wreck. So he finally finished one, and he showed, at least at a plate track, he knows what he's doing. Got that 11th place finish. So congratulations to Harrison Burton. Hopefully he can continue that momentum the rest of the season and get it going for the Wood brothers. Maybe he's the guy that punches through and gets that 100th win for him. I think Lewis Hamilton will retire in F1 in a couple of years and run a few NASCAR races and possibly a 24-hour race at Daytona, says Mark. That would be cool, man. Like, if Lewis Hamilton comes to the Cup Series, I think that would be pretty amazing. I think that would get a lot of press. That would be the only thing I could see being bigger, at least this year. If they do it this year, than Kyle Larson racing in the Indianapolis 500. Do you think Kyle Busch would make the Wood brothers better if that ever happened? Oh yeah, 100%. You put Kyle Busch in any car, he's going to elevate it. Him and his brother Kurt Busch, and the reason I can go off this is we have data from Kurt Busch. Any team that Kurt Busch went to, he elevated it to another level. So I think his brother would be the exact same. Hi, Mark Robin, One Wise Guy, and Jamie says, Cassandra, I think Edwards had enough of the gimmicks, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, there's two schools of thought. There's one school of thought that he had a health issue. The other school of thought is that he was just not happy with the point system. And understandably so, the way he lost it to Tony Stewart. I heard that Carl got an offer from Daniel's father to buy him out for $20 million, says Duke Chronic. Hey, so there you go. There's like I said, until Carl Edwards comes out and says what happened, there's going to be room for speculation, right? So that's all I can do. That's the those are the stories that are out there. I hadn't heard that particular one, but yeah, so that's interesting. So I can't believe I'm saying this since I am a way bigger NASCAR fan than F1, but F1 Netflix show is way better than the NASCAR one. It might be, but I feel like they're both good. Like I totally enjoyed the Drive to Survive, at least the first two seasons. I haven't watched anything really past that. I sort of, I don't know. I got contrarian when it got super popular and everybody was watching it. I was like, this is trash. I'm not watching it anymore. Everybody's watching it. So the NASCAR one, I feel like is good too. They're just different, but yeah, if you enjoy one over the other one, that's not a big deal. They probably produce it in a way that you like better, or they just have smoother transitions or better storytelling. Let's see. Carl Edwards retiring will forever baffle me, says Shy. Yeah, it was definitely crazy. Ooh. Cadillac Bodies 2025 sheet metal is already in North Carolina. Says William Wagaman. You talking about for the Cup Series? I could be wrong, but I just don't see GM using Cadillac in the Cup Series. They want Cadillac to race against Mercedes and Porsche and these elite high-end brands. I don't think they want to see the Cadillac brand get beat by Ford and Toyota when they're trying to make it a premier luxury model. They want to see those cars. If those cars get beat, they want to see them get beat by Porsche. They want to see them get beat by Mercedes. They want to see them get beat by Acura, which is the luxury brand for Honda. So I don't see that. Now, where I could see something happening is what General Motors always does. If General Motors wants to slap a Chevrolet emblem and take out all of the really cool Cadillac electronics, in that situation, I could see them just rebrand it, because the Chevrolet SS was just the Holden Monero from Australia. So in that particular situation, if they just rebadged it like they did with the Holden Monero when it was the Chevy SS or the Pontiac G8, whatever you want to call it, I could see them doing that with the Cadillac sheet metal. So that's the only situation I would see a Cadillac running in the Cup Series. But I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. I think it's going to be Chevrolet. And that, not only that, but Chevrolet has come out and said they're making another car. They're going to stay in the Cup Series. So Chevrolet is going to be the brand in the Cup Series. But it's fun to dream. It's fun to dream. Cadillac being in the Cup Series would be cool. They've done it one time in the early 40s. That car was at Daytona last year for the 24-hour race. So, and a really cool car. How does the business model for Indy Racing League differ from NASCAR's? Is it better, worse, and what NASCAR may want to try? Says Jamie Schweitzer. That's a great question. I don't have a good enough working knowledge of the Indy Racing League's structure, so I couldn't fairly answer that question. How many brackets did the 99 blow up this week? LOL. I don't know, but I want to say I had him in on my bracket, but I'm not 100% sure I did or not. But I think I had him in. Like if it was like March Madness, I would at least have one bracket with him in it. So he didn't blow mine up, but he might have blown up some other ones. I feel like the only guy that's going to blow up my bracket might be Eric Jones if he has a bad season, because I've got him at my number 8 spot. That's the guy I reached on this year. Kyle Busch said the Spire Motor, but I'm still confident in him. He's going to get it done. Spire Motorsports Chevy Silverado RST were Kyle Busch Motorsports Chevy Silverado RSTs. Stage 3 of Atlanta saved the race, in my opinion, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, I would say that too. This week's ratings were ridiculous. Wasn't it up like 30%? It might have been, because it was a crazy good race. Even if they weren't, the virality of this video is probably going to make next week's race even more viewed. And for once, NASCAR was trending with a trending video, and it was a positive video. So I was happy about that. for the first time since Ross Chastain's wall ride or whatever. Howdy CL says Jamie Schweitzer run a 5-car pack and trade out the leader periodically and lap the field. Good strategy, BB. I mean, yeah, that's the only way to counter the fuel mileage runs, right? Because if you get a caution, everybody's going to be good, right? Or everybody's going to pit, one or the other. Daniel's family didn't have that type of money. His dad couldn't pay for that type of thing, says Dirty Duff. 4.5 million watched the Cup race. I would like to see how racing at Atlanta would be unrestricted. That's the dream. That's the dream, Chrome. Suarez using, oh, here we go. So I've heard this one. I don't know for sure, but this is also a theory. I'm not going to use that word, but Suarez using creative marketing agents' money for Carl's seat is a rumor I've heard from Goodyear track guys. So that is a rumor I've heard too, but I don't put a whole lot of stock into that. But I don't know, and I'm not going to put stock into anything until I see something for sure. But that is another rumor I've heard. I don't know if I necessarily believe that one. I just feel like at the end of the day, it was Carl Edwards' decision, because it was another situation where Joe Gibbs was like, "What the hell, man? Like, who are we?" This is just my view from the outside looking in. Joe Gibbs was like, "What, man? Like, you're leaving? We gotta go get somebody. Suarez has sponsorship, so we'll slide him in here." Like, that's the way I always saw it going down. Now, it's fun to speculate the other stuff. Don't get me wrong. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, or whatever it's however the saying goes. So that's the way I always saw it. But it's always obviously more fun to speculate the other way around. Like Anastasia and the Russian kingdom. Forever, people were like, "Anastasia's still alive. She's still the princess of Russia. She escaped." Then years later, like fairly recently, you find out that Anastasia did not make it, and she suffered the same fate as the rest of the Russian royal family. And we'll stay out of history, because there's probably some people like, what is he talking about? Let's see. Kind of ironic, Suarez replaces Edwards in 2017, but got his first win in the 99. Says Napa race fan. That is pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. Sometimes life is just crazy like that. Maybe partially that and the Daytona 500 the previous Monday. Good point there. Brett Griffin comedy show coming up in Vegas. Brett Griffin. You either love him or you hate him. Atlanta is going to go to a night race next spring, says William Wagaman. Ross punching Noah went viral. Was that negative or positive? I'd say that's negative personally, but that's just my opinion on it. I like your creative word use there, Bud, says one wise guy. Yeah, so there's I don't know for sure that that's one, but I'm fairly sure that that's one. Some words are frowned upon as opposed to others. Carl's decision, because he would have easily went to another big. Good point there, Dirty Duff. If it wasn't Carl Edwards' decision, he easily could have gone to another team, especially if he had $20 million in his pocket. So that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And see, I had never thought about that, because I'd never even thought about it the other way around. I always thought it was just a good story to sort of gossip and sort of drink a beer around the fire and tell stories about. Which will return to NASCAR first, Dodge, Pepsi, or Coors? That is a great question. I'm going to go Coors, because Coors has absorbed most of the people that have left the white and blue beer after that controversy. So they would have the money to do it, and that market lines up to a certain extent. So I would feel Coors would be first. Pepsi, to this day, I don't understand why Pepsi got out in the first place. So if they got out, I don't feel like they're coming back in. Dodge is 50-50. I could see Dodge coming back with Stewart-Haas Racing. I could see Dodge sitting on the sidelines until NASCAR's new engine package comes out, which is what I think they're waiting on. So 50-50 on Dodge. So I would say Coors, if I had to guess, and that's my logic behind it. But I don't know. Flip a coin. 33% apiece, really, would be my guess there. Carl Edwards works for Aflac, says in between the lanes. Yeah, those Aflac cars were iconic, in my opinion. A lot of people remember the '99 Aris, but the '99 Aflac, that was my jam. Do you think Noah will? How do you think Noah will do on Sunday? It's Vegas. It's a home race. So I feel like he'll do probably pretty good, but that's just my guess. Let's see. Pepsi says T-Van. For sure. Pepsi would be a good option. Like I said, I just don't understand why they got out in the first place. So I can't, unless I know why they got out, I can't make a good reason why they get back in. But I don't know why they got out. So they're just as good a guess as anybody. Anheuser-Busch is owned by InBev. InBev is who owns Anheuser-Busch now. They've owned them for quite some time. My buddy worked at an InBev plant, and when that situation went down, there were unfortunately real life consequences, not for the CEOs and stuff, but for the everyday Joes. And that's no matter how you feel about the controversy, it sucks for those guys, right? Like, so he was one of the packaging people, and so he because they weren't moving as much products, unfortunately he has found himself another job now, so good for him. But that was an unfortunate situation, because whenever these situations like this happen, it's never the CEOs. Even though the CEOs and people like that make the decisions, it's never those guys or ladies in this particular case that take the hit. Isn't Coors in NASCAR with Keystone? So Miller Coors is, but I think they were talking about Coors, the actual brand itself. Coors Miller does own Keystone, and they run one race a year with Austin Cindric, or they have been running one race a year with Austin Cindric, and previously Brad Keselowski. Bud owns Coors. No. Bud does not own Coors. So I say Coors. Bud doesn't own Coors. Bud owns Busch. So that's where Busch Light comes from. Coors Miller is a different deal. InBev owns Budweiser, Busch, and all that stuff. Carl Edwards also works at Office Depot. Office Depot, are they still around? That's a good question. Is there still an Office Depot? They closed the one by me. Office Depot and Staples by me are closed. The Coors Pepsi Dodge, driven by Carl Edwards, says, Shy, that would be tough. That'd be a tough car for Stuart Haas Racing. You want a season to end with a banger Atlanta is designed for you. Don't matter. It's full season points or the chase. Hey, that's a fair point. Coke is really backed out of the sport too. Yeah, they still got the Coke family of drivers, though. They still got Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin. It was Ryan Newman. Who's the other one? I'm missing one. Chase Elliott, the most popular driver, and Chase Elliott. So there you go. And pre Dr. Pepper, Bubba Wallace was one of them too. I work for Pepsi, and our plant is about 5 minutes from Talladega Superspeedway. I hope that Pepsi gets back the sponsorship in the series. Celsius is a partner with Pepsi, so that may be a start. Hey, there you go. I didn't know that. I didn't know Celsius was packaged by Pepsi, so that's pretty cool. I know Coca-Cola has a good chunk of Monster, but I didn't know Pepsi had a hand in Celsius, so that's interesting. Kid Rock had some cool views with Tucker Carlson about the Bud thing. A boycott is okay, but cancel culture is something else, says Shy. So there you go. If you want to watch that, was that a Tucker Carlson interview? So if you want to watch the Tucker Carlson interview, because I think Kid Rock is, I guess, at least one of the bigger names that started that. And I'm not going to talk about that anymore because I don't get into that stuff. But if you want to check it out, I guess, was it on? So it's on a Tucker Carlson channel, wherever he's at now. Either YouTube or Twitter, wherever he's at. Let's see. BB, are we going to get a blizzard in Cali in the mountains where I live at this weekend? Says OJ and Toothpaste. Oh, I don't know. There's a cup race, so there's a good chance there will be some weather. There will be some weather in Vegas. InBev unionized employees are about to go on strike Friday. I saw reports about it. Says Jamie Schweitzer. Raymond Bailey says yes, barely. Ross Chastain heads for the mountains of Busch Light beer. So there you go. Ross repping the light blue and white. BB, would you rather work at the post office or a retail manager at Best Buy? Post office all day. Post office all day. The benefits are better. And I've just had friends. I've had previous friends that worked at least back then, that worked at Best Buy. It's not where you want to be. You're forced to upsell all the time, and there's all kinds of stuff behind the scenes that you don't want to deal with that. Post office all the way. You even get to drive the really cool trucks, like the little cool Iron Duke. Northrop Grumman trucks. Northrop Grumman, the only company that makes the world's most elite fighter jet and the little mail truck that is the least mechanized thing you've ever seen in your life. But it's simplistic and it doesn't break down as much as other cars. What gets me ticked is that Coke didn't have commercials with their drivers on it. Yeah, hopefully they bring that back. They do have the Coca-Cola cars on track, but they're so weird about their money that you can never get the die casts. So you've missed a couple of opportunities to buy some banger die casts of Daniel Suarez. He's had some really good Coke schemes. Denny Hamlin's had a couple good Coke schemes as well. Is it just me, or has NASCAR lost its way since Helton left? A lot of people feel that way. But of course, the people that aren't old enough to remember Mike Helton are going to be like, y'all are just boomers complaining about something. So that's the trade-off you get if you say it one way or the other. But the Mike Helton days were definitely fun. Mike Helton was more of a hey, don't do this, or we're gonna creatively find ways to penalize you if you piss us off. He had a better way of policing the sport than I would say they've got going on right now. OJ was 80 degrees Fahrenheit here yesterday, and will be 32 for a high tomorrow and -5 wind chill. Joey Logano is a member of the Coca-Cola family. Joey Logano, I knew I was forgetting one. Joey Logano is the other Coca-Cola family member. Appreciate you there, Jamie Schweitzer. I can't believe I forgot him. So yeah, BB is Joe Cuervo, the best margarita mix out there. No. That is probably the worst tequila on the face of the planet. If I had to guess, basically the best tequilas are the ones you walk into the Mexican restaurant and you're like, I've never seen that brand before in my life. That's the one you order. Or you just ask the bartender, like, hey, give me one of the good tequilas. They'll hook you up. Because I feel like they're experts, because that's where all the tequila comes from is Mexico. So I feel like they've got a good handle on the product. Let's see. Yes, it was a Tucker interview. Kid Rock did not expect everyone to pay that much attention to his one-off rant and post, says Shah. Hey, so there you go. That's Kid Rock's view on it. And like I said, I'm not getting into the politics of it. So make of it what you will, because I'm just not getting involved in that. There's a million YouTube politics channels. I don't need to be one of them. Kyle Petty is still on Coke's payroll, says Delmar Kaufman. That's pretty cool. Coke does everything in the series. They practically own Monster and support 10-plus drivers in the series, says Dirty Def. So there you go. That's kind of what I was getting at. Coke owns enough of Monster that they make the deal happen. BB, do you like the show MASH? MASH was okay. Like I never got into it like some people got into it, but it was a fairly good show. Snow by the foot on Friday through Saturday in the Sierra Nevada. A good beer, by the way. That's one of my favorites. Also, I feel like they are InBev, if I'm not mistaken. Imagine, or at least bottled by InBev or distributed by InBev. Imagine weather in Vegas Saturday and possibly Sunday. So, hey, there you go. Weather in Vegas. If there's a NASCAR race, there will be weather. I would be a bad Walmart greeter because I would be telling people to get their crap and get out, says Mark Barnum. Daniel Suarez has freeway insurance. He does have freeway insurance, and they probably got the most screen time they could ever get with that finish right there. Annoying new fans think they're smarter than longtime fans, calling us boomers. Began watching NASCAR like 20 years ago. So yeah, but here's what should put you at ease. One day they'll be in the same boat. There will be younger NASCAR fans telling them that they don't know anything about the sport that they've watched for a long period of time. It's cyclical. We probably did it when we were younger the same way. So it's just the way things go. Not me, of course. I was always a respectful young man. Never got afoul of the law. Just a good kid. Let's see. BB is Target or Walmart better to shop at? Walmart. Are you talking about in person? Because if you're talking online, Walmart has way better prices than even Amazon does right now, if we're being totally honest. In person, it just depends on what you're looking for. Walmart usually has better prices. Target, I don't know. People like Target. I don't know. But Kyle Larson, they used to sponsor Kyle Larson, so Target's okay, I guess. I don't know. I feel like they've got the exact same amount of stuff, and the quality is not that much different, but Target is more expensive. That's the way I've always viewed it. Still doesn't feel right with Hendrick with a Coke sponsorship and Chase Elliott. Yeah, it is weird for Hendrick. And Pepsi got back. It would be the best candidate today to join them, like they did with Jeff Gordon. Yeah, that is. it is pretty crazy. So they had Chase Elliott with Mountain Dew too. So like it's weird that they sort of got off of that. How bulletproof are those U.S. postal trucks? They're pretty stout. They have a pretty decent service record. Another one of the weird YouTube videos I watched. I watched one on the post office trucks. They're pretty. They're just not good on gas because they're super heavy, and that little Iron Duke General Motors 4-cylinder is not up to the task. Ollie Anderson passed away yesterday, one of the original Four Horsemen. So yeah, for sure, hold up the four for old Ollie. He is one of the OG horsemen. I like the Three Stooges. Says In Between the Lanes. He was gone by the time I was into the Horsemen. The first Horseman I remember was, I think, Barry Windham, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Arn Anderson. So I missed the Ollie era, but my uncles and stuff definitely, they've met them and said they're super nice folks to meet. Should SHR hire, back when they were wrestling at the armories and stuff like that? So that's how far back they go with it. Should SHR hire Chad Canals? I mean, if you're going to cheat, you should learn from the best. Going to be hard to pull him away from Hendrick, though, Ken. BB, the Sierra Nevada Brewery is 2 hours from me in Chico, and they have amazing food and beer. So if you're near a Sierra Nevada, they have one in Asheville too, just so you know, and that's the one I've been to. Torpedo, you're my kind of guy, OJ. So if you ever get the opportunity to visit a Sierra Nevada brewery, take that opportunity because they have an amazing garden, they have amazing food, and the beer is amazing. The tour is amazing, and it is like walking into a beer palace. It's like a kingdom. Like if you ever walk into one, it is one of the most amazing things. Totally unexpected. So I might be overhyping it. Like part of the reason that I enjoyed it is it was something I walked into and wasn't expecting. But I walked into it and I was like, holy geez, like you're rolling up to a palatial mansion-esque thing, but it's super chill and laid back. So, I mean, you can wear, flip-flops and shorts. Like you don't have to be dressed up or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But it's just super impressive. It is like if the Bass Pro Shop was like a brewery. Except the Bass Pro Shop on steroids was a brewery. That's I don't know. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it. But yeah, then it goes on. BB, what's the best flavor of Sierra Nevada? I like Torpedo. You're the man. You're on the money with it, OJ. Torpedo is the best Sierra Nevada without question. Bringing back memories. I might have to get a sixer for the race weekend. So why did NASCAR cut back on road course races? They were talking about going to other countries with SVG coming. Shouldn't we get 2 more road course races instead of only having 5? I think part of the reason they pulled back on it is because people complained, and I think that's just it was reaction to people on Twitter saying we got too many road course races. I think that was 100% why they made that call. But if we expand, it will be interesting to see what track they go to if they do an international race. I don't think we'll ever see 3 AT&T Cup cars competing simultaneously ever again, says Jamie Schweitzer. And don't forget the AT&T Cup cars that were just unsponsored. Like they had to pull the sponsorship off of them because of the Sprint deal. Mark be like, hurry up and buy. Says like this, let's take Pocono's second date and set it on their road course. I mean, that might be something they look at. I always respected my elders, otherwise they would whoop me. Says Shy, LOL. That's a fact. It was a whooping of love. Yeah, and typically while they're wailing on you, they're saying that irritating phrase, this hurts me more than it hurts you. I was like, well, I wish you could be on the other end of some of these because it does not hurt you more than it hurts me. It's hurting me a lot more. Target is Yuppieville, says Mark Barnum. It definitely has that stigma. It definitely has that stigma for sure. And Walmart has the stigma of people posting fights in Walmart and stuff. So last time I went to clothes shopping at Target, I was like, man, I wouldn't be caught dead. And this stuff says like this, like, BB, did Pepsi stop sponsoring HMS because they were going bankrupt to save money? I have no idea. I really have no idea because they had the best driver. They had the best brand, which is Mountain Dew. I don't know. It was like a match made in heaven. Chase Elliott drinks Coca-Cola when he goes to Hooters. Says In Between the Lanes. That's a fact. If you're going to cheat, get Ray Evernham. Yeah, he might not be super busy. Good point there, CL Keller. I never called someone boomers where I'm from. We respect and honor our elders, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, I mean, I never called anybody a boomer either, just because when the phrase originally came out, it was stupid to begin with. because they weren't calling boomers, but it is what it is. And they're like, that's the point of it, blah, 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 whatever. Like, it's just their thing. It's what they call people. Every young generation has their thing where they rebel or whatever. That's just their thing. And the only reason they keep saying it is because they know it gets a rise out of people. So it's the most middle school thing you could ever do. And we were all in middle school once. We did middle school things. So let's not get too preachy and judgy. Four Horsemen says like this, like, if Pepsi came back into the sport, would give a huge sponsorship to a driver. Who would you think it would be? Would have said Ross before Busch Light. Oh, that's a good question. You want to go with a guy who's probably the most marketable, that moves the most products. Chase Elliott's taken with Coca-Cola now. Bubba Wallace is taken with Dr. Pepper. Ross has Busch Light. You got the Coca-Cola family of drivers, so those guys are locked up. Corey LaJoy, Carson Hocevar, if you want to go long term, he might be one you look at. Like, so there's several guys you look at. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but Ty Gibbs would be one you could possibly look at. So I think Ty Gibbs would be a good one to look at. He's going to be there for a long time. He's not going anywhere. It's a solid pick. And I think he's got a lot of talent too. Man, if I was Pepsi, who do your choice of a new generation? Ty Gibbs is young. Carson Hocevar is young. I'm going Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, wild card Zane Smith, and Corey LaJoy. So those would sort of be my picks. Eric Jones would be another good one. Throw that Pepsi. Who wouldn't want to see a Pepsi 43? You know what I mean? So that'd be another good pick right there. Let's see. What was exactly the problem with the SHR roof strips? That's a good question, next dude. I haven't seen a full analysis of them yet, and they probably won't give us one. It'll probably be like the underbody part from RFK. Chrome Diesel, they only say Boomer Online. Never had a little one say it to my face. I mean, that's another point. They online is not the real life, so don't get too upset about it. Would be the counter perspective to that as well. They better not either, says Shaz. So there we go. I have all the Richard Petty Pepsi bottles in a case unopened. That's what I'm saying. If Pepsi came back, Eric Jones would be a good fit. Pepsi 43. They already have the legacy there. Good reference there, Delmar. BB, watch out on those torpedoes, though. They will sneak up on you. LOL, having 6, you'll fall over. Yeah, so 6 torpedoes at full strength back in the day. You're probably 100% right now, but they call them torpedoes for a reason because they'll sink you. They'll sink your butt. Let's see. Sheldon Creed, so drink responsibly as always, as I know you all do. Sheldon Creed has his own YouTube channel. Hey, Creed's got his own YouTube channel. So good for him. John Hunter Nemechek has his own YouTube channel too with is it 1 million subscribers? He's got some insane amount of subscribers on his YouTube channel. I didn't know he was that popular on YouTube. So that's interesting. Why did Mountain Dew leave? I haven't seen them sponsor in a while. I have no idea. That's been a question I asked for a long time, because that's actually one of the diecasts I always looked forward to getting was the Mountain Dew diecast when they did some pretty cool ones. Typically the Martinsville schemes from Chase Elliott or Dale Jr. NWO for life. Says X Dude. BB, did you ever get spanked as a young boy from senior? First, it didn't take but one time with the belt. I'll tell you that. I remember that first belt whooping to this day, and I remember the second one too, because the first one I didn't know it was coming. The second one I knew it was coming, and I ran into my room because that's what you do as a little kid. Like, that's the greatest escape plan ever. They can't come into the room. But not only that, I was wise enough to slide up under the bed. And I was up under the bed, and I was like, they can never get me now. But I had my foot, and I was up against the corner. And in my brain, I was like, they can't reach that far. But my leg was just far enough. I got grabbed by the leg and drugged. Like, you've never felt more like a child than being drugged by your leg and held up like that, and then being put back down, and then they grab you by the arm and get you up like that. And I was like, oh God. Because at that point you realize, you know what, I just made it worse. So that was after that was two beltings, and that was it. That was all I needed. I straightened up and flew right after that. OJ, and you know what, man, like, just like total honesty, like I joked about it hurts me more than you. that hurt my dad's feelings more than anything else. Like, he thought I was going to hate him forever and stuff like that. So like that hurt him more than, and he didn't, it scared me. He didn't knock the crap out of me or anything like that. It's more of a scare tactic than anything else. Like, he belted me, but it wasn't like he was wailing on me or anything like that. So I don't want to paint an inappropriate picture or anything like that. So it was more of a psychological thing. But just so you know, for the people who are against that, it worked. It worked. I started acting right, and I stopped acting up. I learned how to act because it was pretty much for acting up in public, I think, if I remember correctly. So that was good. And my mom was meaner than my dad. So like, thank God she didn't get the belt. That would have been, she's going to be pissed that I said that too, by the way. So we're going to get off this topic. I want to see a cup car with a Garbage Pail Kids paint scheme, maybe with SVG. Oh, that would be cool. The Garbage Pail Kids, man, who remembers that? Hooters is Pepsi, says Dirty Def. But yeah, so Hooters is Pepsi, but they've got Coca-Cola sponsoring Chase, so they're living in a crazy dual world there. I got a lot of years on Gen Xers, says Mark Barnum. It's weird Mountain Dew left Elliott despite him being the most popular driver in Winners. I agree with you 100%, Chrome Diesel. I'm still trying to figure it out. Give him hell, Mark, says one wise guy. I think we will see a lot of sponsors return when this virus happened. The economy went to the toilet and money had to be saved for executive bonuses. Now things will come back, in my opinion. Chase, BR, Chase, B Pepsi. Let's see. Oh, Chase Briscoe, Pepsi. So there you go. I got you. Ty would be the best for Pepsi, says Jamie Schweitzer. Millennials don't have much room to talk about someone's age, considering they're now pushing 40. That's some millennials are 40. Let's see. BB, what about Pepsi to BJ McLeod? He's very marketable. Says OJ and Toothpaste. I mean, if you want to sponsor anybody, I feel like BJ McLeod and Mike Harmon have got to be the GOATs there. Kyle Weatherman and Kyle Sieg also. Just want to throw them out there. And of course, Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. They've got too many sponsors anyway. But Kyle Weatherman and Kyle Sieg, you're fools for not sponsoring them. Let's see. Also, BJ McLeod and Mike Harmon. Mike Harmon. Let's see. Ty Gibbs will have Holy Water sponsor him because he is the next coming. Here we go. He gets us, though. He gets us. And don't take that the wrong way. It's just a joke. I'm not taking a stab at anybody's religion. So there you go. Pepsi would do a nice throwback on that 43 car. Look like the STP car. Hocevar, yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Hocevar or LaJoy would be cool. And Gibbs, he's sponsored by. Oh yeah, good point. Good point on Gibbs. I didn't think about that. Let's see. I forgot about his main sponsor because I'm a moron. Let's see. What about Cindric for New Generation? Yeah, Cindric's a good pick. I didn't think about him. That's very crafty, wise guy. I like that's a good pick. Cindric's a good pick. Monster Energy isn't going to let Ty Gibbs go. Yeah, good point. I totally missed on that one, so I'm going to skip over all the rest of the Ty Gibbs. Is sponsored by Monster because I'm a dummy. Let's see. Just a thing of the whole season single sponsor start tanking after 2008 recession. Many sponsors left in. That's true. How about Love Machine BB? How about the Love Machine BB? Says Duke Chronic. What was that a commercial for? Oh man, I forgot. I think it was like a hotel or something. BB, have you ever taken the Fiat out drifting yet? Can't drift front wheel drive, but on Earth 2, it's been drifting a lot because it's rear wheel drive over there. Mountain Dew and has a V8. And plenty of power. Mountain Dew did one race last year with Colleague. And oh yeah, you're right. So maybe Justin Haley or maybe Colleague. One of my favorite cars of 2023. Good catch there, Dirty Diff. When I was younger, the belt was horrible. When you got in trouble, LOL, says OJ and Toothpaste. I got the strap in grade school 2 times. I should sue them, says Duke Chronic. I believe Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace have their own channels as well. Also, Denny Hamlin. I don't know. Denny Hamlin's got the actions detrimental. I know that for sure. I need to check out the other ones. So, yeah, you're probably right. I didn't know that, though. Let's see. Wonder if Dale Jr. Has stock in Sundrop. Seems Mountain Dew would offer more money. I don't know. He might have a piece of it. You never know. Is RC Cola still around, or did they go out of business? RC Cola is still around. They still got it at my local groceries and stuff. A lot of kids today never grew up hearing the sound of a leather belt snapping together as a warning, and it shows. That's a fact. Like after that, all you had to hear was the snapping. You're like, all right, time to act right. It is over. This time out in a corner thing has nothing on the snap of a belt. Let's see. SVG continues to impress. Interested on how he will do at Vegas. Yeah, me too. He's picking it up pretty fast though. Carson was streaming from the Spire Shop yesterday, and almost showed us a Corey LaJoy scheme that's not official yet. Old Carson, man, he knows how to work social media too. I'm big on him, man. I think Josephus is going to be the man. I still flinch when my dad walks up behind me, says, Shy. Nice image of a dad dragging a child with a full beard from under the bed. Says Brickyard Brickhead. That's true. Like, I was born with a complete beard. I've never been beardless. Let the legend continue. Thank you. I appreciate the legend growing there, Brickyard. Cuff off the noggin. Cuff to the noggin, says Shaw. I think John Hunter Nemechek was around 900,000 subscribers or in that area. Says in between the lines. Yeah, it's not shocking. It was just shocking to me because I was like, dang on, he's got like more subscribers than Haley Deegan, and Haley Deegan's getting it done. The biggest thing that hurts, so good for John Hunter Nemechek. The biggest thing that hurts NASCAR when you saw the finish on Sunday, the car brands are near recognizable with the driver. You could hardly tell that was Blaney. Yeah, they switch up the brands. That's one of the big things that's different from the 90s. Like, one sponsor would stay with cars for a longer period of time. So that is one difference. But what can you do? It's the way it is. The sport's more expensive. The economy is different than it was in the 90s. VB, if you were Justin Marks, would you rather hire Marcus Ambrose or Juan Pablo for Project 91? Ooh, God dang, that's a good question. Oh, man, I need a coin to flip. I'm just going to flip a coin because tie. Can I say tie? So, yeah, I'm going to go Marcus Ambrose there just because of the coin flip. But I like both of those picks. I love both of those picks, actually. Good. That's a tough question, OJ. I like that one. Two car is the Love Machine, Jesse Love. That kid is something. I got you. There used to be like a Ramada commercial or something. I'm just a love machine, and I ain't working for nobody but me. It's like mid-2000s, back when Clint Boyer drove at RCR, I want to say. Earth 2, circa 2000, Jimmy Johnson drove a Toyota. Earth 2, 2024, Kyle Larson lands Victoria's Secret for his main sponsor. This says Jamie Spicer. I just feed myself. I kind of liked it. Says yeah. So Denny Hamlin, 100% knowing how to get some traction. He's like, I know they just had one of the greatest finishes in NASCAR history, but we're gonna make something about me. We're gonna get one of these headlines. Doggone it. So let's see. Jamie Thornton. Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm in late. What's up, Jamie? Always good to have you on here. I'd be interested in what you think, Jamie, because I think Denny Hamlin made those comments on purpose. I know you're a fan. So, like, I think he made those comments on purpose because he's being sly like a fox. He's like, I'm going to get some media attention, even though I know we just had the greatest finish or one of the greatest finishes of all time. So I'm going to say I peed myself, and then I'm going to call everybody in the garage a snitch. I think he's doing it on purpose to get some traction. So I think he wants headlines. He always wants to keep 23-11 and Denny Hamlin in the headlines, and I think he's smart for doing that. I would love to get your take on that. Can Texas Motor Speedway take some notes on what Atlanta has done, calling it Texas Motor Speedway? Yeah. I think. That's pretty much Phoenix, because I always call Phoenix PIR anyway. So yeah, I think they should all brand themselves that way. I think that's a pretty good point. Like, it's just easier to say. It rolls off the tongue, and it sort of gives it this branding thing. Like, you don't think about the state, you think about the racetrack when you hear that. Like Talladega is Dega. We're going to Dega. Like, Dega is what you sort of latch onto. So I think they could all take a note out of those books. Yeah, I think you got a good point there. Denny Hamlin needs to be sponsored by IS Pepe, the Pepes. Let's see. I got a hack in the fifth grade for chewing gum with a board with holes. Oh man, who remembers you remember the paddles? Joseph Wooten said Pampers for whoever was sponsored up there. You remember the paddles they had in elementary school back in the day, and the principal was like the only one that could use it. So they would basically call in the warden if you acted up. If you're bad enough. I only saw like one or two kids bad enough to get the paddle. It's like they didn't believe it would happen, and after that, they didn't want one again. My buddy Jeremy, man, he was a little kid, and he just needed massive attention. And I was like, man, stop! They're really gonna do it this time. They sat him in the corner. He was in the corner. He was still acting up, and the teacher had finally had enough. He got the paddle, And man, when he got it, like we were all scared of it anyway, but when he got it and shut up and started acting right, dude, nobody else wanted to paddle. So I remember that one. And I think once again, it was a psychological thing. So that's just, I don't think it was anything serious. So I want to be very clear about that. A lot of people that never had corporal punishment believe it was like this severe, like torturous hostage prisoner of war beating. And it just wasn't that. It just wasn't that. It was more psychological. RC Cola is the official soda of NASCAR on Earth 2. Oh, for sure. For sure. If not Sundrop or Cheerwine. They all share it. They all share it. They get thirds of the season. Sam's Choice sponsors the entire series, though. It's the Sam Choice Championship race. Sam's Choice is the soda you get at Walmart. For those who might not know, Denny Hamlin Racing is the other channel aside from Actions Detrimental on YouTube. Oh, I didn't know that. Did you guys hear Denny Hamlin going into detail on his Actions Detrimental show about peeing in his seat for the first time and how it felt? Oh my God, it's a must watch, says Jamie. So there you go. That's what I was talking about. Like, I think he did it because he's making sure he gets in that press run because he wasn't in the super crazy finish or whatever. Let's see. The Pepsi bottler I work for also makes RC, 7-Up, A&W. So Dr. Pepper 7-Up, Snapple is all one, but they do typically, at least where I'm at, in North Carolina, get bottled by Pepsi too. A&W and the rest of their brands, it's a headache, to say the least. LOL says Dirty Death. Mark Barnum, I thought the same thing. Thoughts on the LED displays in the pits? They're pretty cool. I like them. I love Denny's show, and he really has a lot of great ideas, like bringing horsepower back to these cars. I do agree. I typically usually agree with everything he says, aside from peeing on myself in the car. That fuel racing at Daytona is ridiculous. If not an owner, he would be a good guy to put in charge. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. When he retires, says Jamie. BB, would you put a NASCAR version of NWO or DX? Who would you put in a NASCAR version of NWO or DX? So DX is easier. It's only two people. So NWO would be more. So if there was like a four horsemen, it would have to be like Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, and Daniel Hemrick, because I feel like they all four get along pretty good. If you've ever followed their Instagrams and stuff like that, those would have to be like a four horsemen because they're all like really good buddies. But if you had to have a D-Generation X, like a DX, like an actual DX faction, who would it be? Noah Gragson would have to be in there because he's like a provocateur. He's always stirring stuff. And Kyle Busch, like I would have to go Noah Gragson and Kyle Busch or Ross Chastain because I feel like Ross Chastain's mischievous too. So like, oh well, there was like 3 or 4 of DX too though because they had the Road Dog. So I'm gonna go Kyle Busch, Noah Gragson, Ross Chastain, and you know what? You got to put one guy in there that everybody just likes anyway. So I'm gonna go Daniel Suarez. That would be like my DX stable or whatever. So there you go. Good question. Rajah Caruth is running really good. Chorus of him, says Raymond Bailey. Really proud of him. I got you. Really proud of him. Yeah, Rajah's getting it done. He put it together sort of at the end of last year, and he's continued that momentum into this season. I do have a poll question up. Who's going to win more races, Stuart Haas in NHRA or Stuart Haas Racing in NASCAR? Right now, 58-42. So if you want to get those votes in, feel free to get them in. Let's see. How much of an impact will these penalties have on SHR? From reports, they're already on shaky ground with Ford and are at the end of their contract. I think they're switching manufacturers one way or the other, whether it's Chevrolet, Dodge, or whoever. So I feel like the ground is shaky anyway. But I do think that I think they're on their way out anyway. So I don't know if it can get any more shaky. BB, what's better, Pixie Sticks or Needs Rope Candy? For Sugar Rush, Pixie Sticks. For overall, if you need to not be bored for a while, I'll go Rope Candy. Those paddles hurt too. I'm old. Graduated in 2005, says Raymond Bailey. See, okay, Raymond, you wouldn't stop acting up either. I hear you, brother. I quit chewing gum, says CL. Yeah, gum can be just as addictive a habit as well. Won $10 from RC Cola when I was a kid. Been loyal ever since, says Delmar Coffin. Sometimes that's all it takes. I won a free sports watch from Powerade, and it took them like an eternity to send it to me. I'd forgotten about it by the time they sent it to me. How much of an impact will these penalties have on SHR? From reports, they are already on shaky ground. Like I said, I think I just answered that one. I don't think they're on more shaky ground. I just think it's about the same. I think they're going to change anyway. Let's see. I know Scott Dixon is your guy, BB. Oh yeah, for sure. He's my guy in Indy. I don't know much about IndyCar racing, but Scott Dixon is definitely my dude over there. And I think when he retires, I'm going to go with McLaughlin. So McLaughlin's going to be my guy when Scott Dixon retires. And I'll keep pulling for probably. I'm sort of become attached to Ganassi, so I'm going to pull for Ganassi as well. Maybe Baloney Burger has been asked about it, and he claims he's never done it in the car before. I remember the awesome video with the opening of the door after the race, and Brad didn't lock it. Oh yeah, that was pretty good. I've forgotten about that. Yeah, he caught Brad letting it loose in there. I got paddled as a kid in school. I actually got a paddling in kindergarten, so it was dirty deaf. So they had to break you early. They had to break that stallion early. Let's see. My school had a thick leather strap. Was made out of they made you stick your hand out and get 2 hits to the hand. See, we didn't have that around here, but I've seen it in movies, and I was like, did they make that up for a movie? So that's actually cool that you they actually had it. I know some other movies they got kids in Catholic school, and they get the ruler out and they'll do the ruler on the hands. So maybe that's another route to go with. BB, have you ever owned a road or a dirt bike like the CRF 450 track bike? I have not. But yeah, BB, I can certainly see him doing it for ratings. But he did go into so much detail. I was cracking up. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a great storyteller. He knows how to work the media. So I think that's not like a put down or anything like that. That's actually a good thing to have as a professional athlete. I was paddled by one of them from a teacher assistant principal in Concord, North Carolina, in high school in 1970. Oh, high school! They had it in high school. I hear you, man. Jamie Schweitzer getting that butt tore up. Let's see, in high school, that's crazy. Nerds, rope candy or pixie sticks. I'm gonna go with I like nerds. So anything nerds. Joe Cole is back and it's sold on Amazon. Says Escobar. There you go. Be careful, man. Be careful with your heart. But Joe Cole is back. Joe Cole would be a perfect sponsor for Cup. I bet Denny Hamlin made that that story up about peeing to get highlights as OJ and Two-Face. I don't know if he made it up, but he might have played it up. Like it might have really have happened, but did he really enjoy it? Like that's questionable, right? But he knows how to play it up. He knows what he's doing. I remember the paddle in my elementary school principal's office, sort of like a comedy joke. Comedy jokes happen in real life a lot of the time, but they play them up to make them more funny. Like Bert Kreischer, the machine, like that's probably not completely accurate, but it's a good story, right? Ron White's, they call me tater salad. Some of it's probably true, but probably not all of it. I remember the paddle in my elementary school's principal's office says, Lewis, the whole fuel racing thing would be a lot more interesting if stage yellows weren't a thing. 100% agree with you, Chrome Diesel. Kyle Petty was sponsored by the NWO. He was the NWO number 50 car, if I'm not mistaken. Deke McCaskill ran that as a throwback in the Cars Tour for the Hickory Motorsports race, or for the Hickory Speedway race when the Cars Tour went there one year. Will the SHR railing be on display at Vegas? That's a good question. I want to know. I do want to know that myself. I first got a paddling in kindergarten, and my last was in the 11th grade. Also, they carried you through the 11th grade too. I hear you, brother. I also did it at home until I was finally started acting right and was about 13. I just wanted attention and would pay the price. Hey, that's part of it too. I've had some buddies, like I said, my buddy Jeremy. Well, I don't want to use his full name, but he was a little guy, man, but he needed attention and he wasn't afraid to take a licking for it. Oh yeah, did you hear Denny saying that Kyle Busch came to him and said, where there are more people here for the truck race over the Xfinity race? I will tell you why. KFB says, Jane, hey, there you go. Yeah, they're still definitely buddies, I think. DX Stable, Bush, Gibbs. Oh, I forgot. Ty Gibbs will be a good one put in there. Yeah, Bush, Gibbs, Joey, and Hamlin. Yeah, I like those picks too. I like that Joey pick. Those are definitely good picks. Good evening, all y'all. I got to walk the dog, says CL Keller. I don't know why I didn't put Hamlin in there. He'd be a good bad guy. He likes to troll people. Good evening, y'all. I got to walk the dogs. Take them pups on a walk. Let's see. BB, do you like Kyle Petty takes on NASCAR? Some of them. I mean, I like that he's outspoken and he stands by what he says. I don't agree with all of them, but I do like the fact that he goes out there. Just like some people don't agree with all my takes. It's all good. Have you ever seen the WWE clip where Ross has the has had it with the heels, and they were fighting Boyer and Michael Waltrip? It was pretty funny. I have not seen that. I saw the one where Kyle Busch won the 24/7 title, though. NASCAR can just stop riding and saving fuel easy. Give points at the end of the race for average running position if they average the top 5 points, 6 through 11, and so on. Yeah, or they could just get rid of stage cautions. Like I think there's a lot of workarounds. Later, Cassandra says one wise guy. Scott Dixon uses PNC Bank. He does for sure. Good Lord, graduating in 2005. Tried graduating in 74. We had teachers you wanted to be afraid of. LOL. Here's the link to Chastain, Waltrip, and Boyer in the WWE. Says Dirty Def. Still the funniest fight. Oh yeah. Hold up, Dirty Def. Let me see if I can do this. There you go, Dirty Def. I made you a moderator, Dirty Def, so you can post that link now. I forgot you gotta to post things. You got to be a mod. Still the funniest fight and comments ever in NASCAR was Logano and Hamlin at Martinsville, the short track race. Oh yeah, that's just short track racing. That was funny. And the fact during the year when everything shut down, a word that YouTube is not necessarily in love with, depending on the week. When Denny Hamlin wore the face mask and he had his face from when he made those comments. Or at least that's the way I took it. But he had the big Denny Hamlin smile, and I feel like it was from that particular deal. That was pretty good too. BB, if you could pick any time to be alive, beginning of NASCAR, 1950, 1960, I would want to be at the beginning of NASCAR when they used to race at the beach, because I've heard so many people talk about the spectacle of watching them race on the beach was one of the craziest things you had ever seen back then. So I feel like that would be the time. What a time to be alive! Like if I could pick any era to go back in time and look at a race, that would be it. Maybe NASCAR's penalties should be corporal punishment at the start finish line. It might be. Seems I remember Tony Stewart up in Denny should pull out the old belt and give him what's for wrecking the field. Seems like I remember Tony Stewart up in Denny won. Didn't he mess himself one race? Oh yeah, he had the flu or something. I don't know if it was Tony Stewart, but I remember somebody had the flu, and that's definitely a true story. Are you a Jim Cornette fan? Says one wise guy. I was until I learned more about him. Some of the stuff he started saying I couldn't get with. IMSA should be coming up soon with NHRA. Says in between the lanes. There you go. Who's going to win this Sunday, BB? Oh, that's a good question. I haven't even pulled up the stats or nothing like that, but it's Las Vegas. So I'm going to go with one of the Las Vegas boys. I'll go either Kyle Busch or my wild card pick would be Noah Gragson, but he's a hometown guy. 49. Oh, so it wasn't the 50. You're right. It's the 49 NWO of Kyle Petty. The 29 WCW car of Steve Grissom. I believe it was Diamond Ridge Motorsports. You are correct about that, my friend. I don't know about Diamond Ridge, but it was something Diamond. And it was the 29 WCW car. Martin Truex Jr. and Christopher buy Reese's Fine Foods at the grocery store. They do. And Eric Jones used to buy them too. Truex Jr. I agree, Bologna Burger. Some might upset some and rub people the wrong way, but Kyle Petty's job isn't to make everyone happy and pass out cake and ice cream. Yeah, 100% agree with you. It's good to have one person that just like sort of calls it, and you don't have to agree with them, but it's just good to have somebody that calls it like that. Now, you don't need like 4 million of them. You don't need every show to be like First Take. But it's good to have one guy like that, and then you have other guys to balance them out. So it's pretty cool like that. That and Kyle Petty's different than like the First Take guys, because Kyle Petty doesn't always throw a controversial comment out there. He just does it from time to time when he really thinks that way. So that's the other good thing about, I guess, NASCAR media. NASCAR, but SNL had some funny skits with not NASCAR, but had some funny skits with Shane Gillis. Yeah, so that kind of blew up. I guess his opening monologue blew up or something like that. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really comment on it. Let's see. I would love to see Kyle Larson versus Max Verstappen in a race of some kind. That would be interesting, because I remember Carl Edwards beat Michael Schumacher in a Fiat, of all things, a Fiat race. I think it was a Fiat edition, a Fiat Schumacher edition car they were racing too. So that was interesting. But Carl Edwards beat him, so that's something the NASCAR fans, when the mean F1 fans, not all F1 fans, I'm saying the mean F1 fans that always talk crap about NASCAR, That's the one thing the NASCAR fans that are aware of it like to throw it back in their face. KFB was a WWE champ for sure, the 24/7 champ. NASCAR doesn't usually put most illegal parts on display for others to copy. Yeah, you're right. They used to back in the day, but like the more recently, they haven't been doing it because I remember RFK made big waves about it when they actually put their part out by their trailer so the other teams could see it. That was controversial. Whereas I remember way back in the day, whenever they found a illegal part, they would put it on a table and be like, "Hey, we found these. We better not see you doing it." So definitely a different way of going about your business. But you're right. From probably about, I'll say like maybe 2008 and on. I don't think they were laying them on the table and showing everybody the illegal stuff they found. I'm feeling this is Bubba's week. Yeah, I said it. Says Jamie Swart. It could be. He's really good at mile and a halves, and he finished 10th in points last year. Old school NASCAR Winston Cup Series points. He's leading the points, and I think he's 4th or 5th in season points right now. So he's definitely coming into his own. And 2311 itself has had speed. Tyler Reddick's had some bad luck with wrecks and stuff like that. But 2311 has had speed. They're sort of in the Penske camp with Ford, where Penske's had speed, but also has had bad luck. I'm fine with stage points. Just make top 5, get points, no stage breaks. I don't like someone finishing 16th and have more points than the race winner. That's definitely a critique of the stage points. If Junior don't come back, you think Kyle Petty goes back to the booth? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know what they're going to do. They need to get Junior signed. That'd be a foolish thing. They just need to give him what he wants. And I don't think he's asking for money. I think he's asking for other stuff. So let's see. Not NASCAR related, but I find Stephen A. Smith annoying. I don't care for his first take. I used to watch it. I can take him or leave him. I haven't watched ESPN since the Tim Tebow, Jeremy Lin, when they just started going. That's the point in time when they started going all in on one story. Like, it's all you heard about. Then after those two, it was LeBron. Like, it's 24/7 LeBron. So around that era, what was that, like 2015, somewhere in there? Around that era, I just stopped watching because I was like, oh, my God, they're going to say the same thing 15 different ways. And it was when the meme started of how does this affect LeBron James' legacy? Like, you would see that on all social media. Like, no matter what somebody posted, it'd be like, Ryan Newman won the Daytona 500, and in the comments you'd see somebody say, "But how does this affect LeBron James' legacy?" Because ESPN was just beating a dead horse. They would take one story that was trending and just absolutely wear it out. So that's about the time I stopped watching ESPN. And I watched Fox Sports 1 for a little while, but then they got stale and started doing basically the same stuff. They took all of the same ideas from ESPN. So now I'm just like, I just watch YouTube stuff. And I watch the live sporting events, whoever has them. So that's I usually don't watch any of it. Although some people have been trying to push me to watch. Who was that dude's name? Used to be like a kicker or a punter. Golly, the camera turns on and you forget everybody's name. It's the craziest thing. Pat McAfee. A lot of people are trying to get me to watch the Pat McAfee show. So maybe I'll give that a try one day. But it just seems like something I don't know. Like I wouldn't really be into anymore. As a younger kid, I would have loved Pat McAfee. I'm just more chill now, and he's just like super high energy. I don't know if I can deal with that. Let's see. I would like to see the Wood brothers get that win. Number 100 says Delmar Coleman. It would be super cool. Hope it is Bubba that meets the wall this weekend. So Mark Barnum, not a Bubba Wallace fan. Noah Gregson drinks Black Rifle coffee and owns a Ranger boat. That's a fact. Stephen A is like Skip. It's all the same. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've just got 2 different versions of it on 2 different channels. Got a good run, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with us, Jamie. Always good to see you and hang out with you. I'd love to see them bring in Doug Rice for a brawl. Oh, that would be super cool, man. Like, that would be a super cool send-off. Like, we need to get that going. Like we need to. That would be super cool to get Doug Rice in the NBC booth for one race. Good call there, Ken. For a race or two, going to miss hearing him on the radio for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a great call. ESPN has NASCAR on their tracker. Oh yeah, it was on their it was on the top 10, the top 10 list. Somebody posted that on Twitter. Ironically, that's how it's ESPN now. People post stuff on Twitter. Pat McAfee. Yeah, so Pat McAfee was the name that I couldn't think of earlier. I just canceled my old cable. McDonald's is about to have another subscriber. Old McDonald's is about to have another subscriber. It says I like dislike. Watch McAfee highlights on YouTube. Easier in small dosage. Yeah, that's pretty much how I think everybody can see. Like, I don't think people even watch the full Joe Rogan podcast. I think they just check the clips. I think that's the same thing with everybody else. People of a certain age. When you're younger, I feel like you either got more energy or more time, or maybe both. And you can watch the full deal. But I feel like as you get older, just give me the clips, give me the highlights, give me the cliff notes. So yeah, maybe I'll try that, wise guy. I'll check the highlights on YouTube for sure. I got a dip, but thanks for the awesome live, BB. Let's go, Joey. Without them big gloves, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, that's a good one for sure. The real racing begins now in Vegas. Yes, a lot of people saying this is when the real season begins. Without the big gloves, I mean, I got you. See y'all in the Discord. All right. Looks like we have reached the end of this one, so I'll check you guys on the next one. And peace.